Now, to demonstrate why I think this is a problem, I'm going to go over the 3 big Marvel villain groups. I'll talk about how they've been used in the MCU and how they usually work in the comics. Starting with Hydra. In the movies, Hydra is described by Peggy Carter as a Nazi deep science division led by Johann Schmidt, aka the Red Skull. Schmidt splits from the Nazis after they question his obsession with the Tesseract, and he turns Hydra into his own personal army. Values-wise, this is where it gets tricky. Where the Nazis were focused on eliminating specific ethnic and religious groups, most notably the Jews, Red Skull did not seem to share that same ideology. They seem to just want to take over the world. Generic fascism. He creates an army of soldiers outfitted with sci-fi weapons powered by the Tesseract, and even a fleet of tanks able to shoot Tesseract energy. Schmidt also has his head scientist Arnim Zola work on recreating the super soldier serum that gave Schmidt and Steve Rogers their powers. This sort of works on Bucky. Zola eventually gets captured by Cap and the Howling Commandos. At the end of Captain America 1, Red Skull is disintegrated and Hydra is foiled by the SSR. We learn in The Winter Soldier that S.H.I.E.L.D. Operation Paperclipped a bunch of high-value Hydra scientists, including Zola, and they, unbeknownst to S.H.I.E.L.D., recreated Hydra. It is unclear how many S.H.I.E.L.D. agents were Hydra, but we learn that Strike, led by Brock Rumlow, and several political figures like Senator Stern and Alexander Pierce were Hydra. By the end of The Winter Soldier, Steve and friends destroy Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. We learn between Winter Soldier and Age of Ultron, the Avengers assembled to take out the remaining Hydra strongholds. At the time, the organization seemed to be led by Baron Strucker, who was operating out of Sokovia. The Avengers attacked all of the Hydra bases, and at the start of Age of Ultron, we see them defeat Strucker in Sokovia, which seemed to be the end of Hydra. Now, there is a lot of stuff I'm not going to cover here which takes place in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I'll give you the broad strokes. Hydra was apparently formed centuries ago to worship an inhuman named Hive, who was banished to another planet. This Hive-worshipping cult existed all throughout history, and it wasn't until World War II times that Schmidt took it in a more science-fascist direction and away from its Hive-worshipping roots. When the Schmidt Hydra was destroyed, old Hive cult Hydra became the main Hydra again and did a bunch of stuff with Coulson that doesn't really matter because it's not in continuity. And by the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., both Hydras were gone. In the comics, Hydra is pretty much the second thing. There are a bunch of cultists obsessed with the magic spear of Imhotep who try to take over the world and briefly get involved with Hitler, although that's not their main deal. They're mostly led by Baron Strucker and run a whole bunch of companies and even invent a decoy villain group to distract S.H.I.E.L.D. named Secret Empire. And with 738 appearances according to the Marvel Wiki, Hydra is the most consistent villain group in Marvel Comics. So okay, that's not a bad start. Hydra didn't hang around for as long as maybe you would have hoped, but they had a significant role in 3 movies and a TV show if you count that.